Greetings, vinyl community. Cheers. My name is Roger. I stumbled upon your community here on YouTube kind of by accident. I was searching for some Opeth videos. I'm a big fan. I found Derek's post on his Opeth vinyl and was blown away. I mean, I was like, who is this guy? And watched a bunch of his videos, and so inspiring. Not just his record collection, but him as a person, fascinating. I love to hear him talk about what he's doing musically, what's going on in his life, what he thinks about things. And this led to all the rest of your videos, which I've been devouring. And it's just inspired me to want to jump in, and I hope you'll welcome me into your community. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of records. Nothing like Derek's, but that's about half of them. There's boxes full of records there. There's boxes of records downstairs. There's CDs over here and in another room and downstairs. Music has always been really important to me, and so I'm going to do a little introductory video here and show you some records that have been important to me over the years. And, as Derek says, a person's record collection says a lot about who that person is, and it has something to do with the contents, the musical contents of the records, but more to do with the passion of the person who collects them. And that, to me, is what's so inspiring about the vinyl community and why I so want to participate. So I hope you will welcome me. Music. My first memories are musical. Sitting under the piano at my sister's piano lessons, and letting the sound wash over me, going home and banging on the piano, which led to my parents saying, well, if you're going to bang on the piano, you're going to take piano lessons, which I did. I'll get to a little bit more about that in a bit, but records were not a big thing in our house, but there were some, and I found some, and like this thing. It's Beethoven's symphony, a little excerpt, and I guess I liked the music, but what I liked most of all was that little dog there, and the red vinyl, and just the way it looked, and the way you could see through it. This planted the seed, really, of what you see behind me. And so I played the hell out of these things on my little close and play. And so this is chewed up and unplayable now, and worthless, But I hold on to it because I'm sentimental about these things. We moved to Connecticut when I was 7. Grew up in Houston. Moved to Connecticut. This was a big deal for my family, but I was a little kid. I didn't care. I thought it was great. Moved to this house with a basement where I could be by myself and play with my Matchbox cars and listen to the radio. My dad had built this AM radio. At that time, early 70s, radio was actually a lot of good music. Sly and the Family Stone, Beatles, and hard rock and soul, and sort of country things, and that sunshiny pop stuff. It was a magical time. It's not like today where the radio, or who listens to the radio anymore? But that was around the time when I discovered music as a piece of music, something that I wanted to have, and so I bought my first little 45s to play on my little close and play, like Sunshine by Jonathan Edwards. Now, yeah, this is cheesy, but remember, I was 7, 8 years old, 7. I loved this song, American Pie. But I was bummed that you had to flip the 45 over. The Raiders, Paul Revere and the Raiders, Indian Reservation. Played these things to death, and again, they were scratched, the sleeves were gone. they're worthless, but I can't get rid of them because they mean a lot to me. So it wasn't until I got older and started working and could make some money, get my own stereo, did I start buying albums. My older sister, of course, had albums, and I would abscond with them. She didn't like that very much, so eventually I had to get my own. And I don't know if this was the first album I bought. It probably isn't, but it might as well be. And I have to show it because I loved this record when it came out. Elton John's Captain Fantastic. I'm not ashamed. I mean, come on, look at that cover. And it came with a poster and these crazy booklets. I mean, I'm sorry. What 9, 10-year-old kid isn't going to love this? I didn't understand the words, probably just as well. Like I said, I'm not ashamed of this. This is not the copy I bought way back when. I sold it. Found this much later. I still love this record. I'd started taking piano lessons at that time, of course, so it was important to me that he played piano. There weren't that many rockers. I loved the electric guitar. Begged my parents for an electric guitar. No, you learn to play the piano and then you can play electric guitar. Well, that day didn't come until much later when I bought my own electric guitar. But so anyway, went to really good public schools in Connecticut where I had great teachers. Gary Souza, who's now band director at University of Tennessee in Knoxville, leader of the marching band there. Real big deal. Well, that time he was middle school, high school band director, and learned how to play the clarinet, flute, saxophone. Played piano in musicals, accompanied choir, sang in the choir with another great teacher, Bill Fletcher, who also taught theory. Don't know that you can take music theory classes in public schools anymore, even in Connecticut, which is kind of sad. But I was lucky. They were great teachers, and they were also music enthusiasts. They loved music, and so they would bring in records into the band room and play them for students. There was a little crowd of us that would hang out in the band room, and the stuff we were into was like this. Weather Report's Heavy Weather come out 1977. Loved this. Loved the cover. Loved the synthesizers. We played Birdland and the jazz. The stage band. But Mr. Souza would say, well, sure, that's great, but have you heard their first record? Have you heard this? Bitches Brew by Miles Davis? This scared the hell out of me when I first heard this. I mean, the cover alone scared me. But, it still scares me. And he was like, well, Headhunter's great, but have you heard this Herbie Hancock record? Whoa! It's experimental electronic techno almost. Wild stuff. Or this thing. Well, I didn't need any explanation for this. This is rock. John McLaughlin, Sonny Sharrock. This is a hard rock record. Miles Davis, man. And this guy. Not just a great guitarist, with funny songs and stuff, but a great composer. This record maybe isn't the best example of it, but I first heard Frank Zappa from my high school band teacher. I don't think you can get away with that these days. But I was lucky. I was really lucky, and hearing that stuff really changed my life. So, I'm buying records. Find out about these guys. Soon learn their records suck. Go see them, realize, oh, they're a live band. Start trading tapes. Hold on to the records because, you know, it's the Grateful Dead, but I could go on and on about them, but another hugely important group. And again, guitars. I played piano, but guitars. Calling my name. So I graduate and I go to school in Boston. I went to the New England Conservatory. I was a terrible student, but I learned a lot. And I met a lot of interesting people, which I might talk about in some other video. But most importantly, I heard music that I might not have heard otherwise. You know, I was into sort of cheesy fusion and King Crimson and things like that. But when I heard Ornette Coleman, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Late Coltrane. You know, I knew my favorite things and stuff like that, but Ascension? Whoa. Cecil Taylor. As a pianist, I had to deal with this guy. And honestly, it's part of what pushed me away from the piano. I mean, first of all, it was really hard to get piano to practice on at the conservatory at that time. You had to get up at the crack of dawn and compete with these, you know, people who wanted to be concert pianists, playing, you know, Rachmaninoff, shit like that. So they're there at the crack of dawn, they practice 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. Made it really hard to get a piano. Now, I know that sounds like an excuse, and I guess it kind of was, because what I really wanted was a guitar. So I bought a guitar. And while I was hearing all that interesting free jazz, I was also, you know, because I was still collecting records, I was still, you know, I was a poor student, more ways than one, but I had no money, you know, so I would sell records to buy new records. You know, Boston was a great place to go record shop. It still is, I think. Anyway, punk rock was happening then. Now, of course, punk rock had happened in the late 70s, and I had some Clash records. But when I heard this, Who's Purdue? These guys make the Clash sound like Monavant. This is heavy, intense stuff. Sort of like metal, but with a thrashy punk thing happening. And melodic, too. Double record set. And Sonic Youth. You know, the detuned guitars, the artistic, high art pretension. You know, some people hated that, but I really respected what Sonic Youth was trying to do. You know, coming from this conservatory culture of, you know, classical music being, you know, way up here and then there's everything else. You know, I thought what Sonic Youth was doing was, you know, by tying to that fine art thing, well, anyway, doing something important. And these guys, Barbados Magus, 2 saxophones, an electric guitar going full throttle. Man, this is intense. This is what, you know, I didn't get this stuff in the classroom. I got this from going record shop. And it had an even more profound impact on me than whatever was going in the classroom, you know, when I would go. So anyway, you know, I left the conservatory, or was asked to leave. I'm not proud of that, but that's it's punk rock. Cheers. Eventually formed a band with some other NEC folks. I met a drummer from Richmond named Sam Bird, who was a librarian at MIT, and fantastic drummer. First time we met, played with him, it was like something magical was happening. And you know, we made a go for it. We made a CD in 1991. Yeah, CDs were the thing then, and you know, I kind of regret it because look at that, 72 minutes. There's some stuff on here I'm not real proud of. If we'd been constrained by an LP, 40 minutes, probably would have been a stronger record. such as it is, you know, it got us some attention. We're nominated for a Boston Music Award, played the Knitting Factory in New York several times. Never did make another CD. Did put out a cassette on our own, live at the Willow. We recorded this on a 4-track cassette. Actually sounds pretty good. 2 volumes. About a little less than 2 hours. We tried to make another record. It was going to be distributed by Rounder. It was going to be a big deal, but we cheaped out because we had no money. And you know, it eventually broke us up. But we did appear one last time before then on this tribute to Sun Ra, Wavelength Infinity on Rastaskani. And you can see there, we have Pride of Place. We were the first track on the first CD. And there's some heavy-duty people on this. The Residents, Splatter Trio, NRBQ, Elliot Sharp, Thurston Moore. I'm really proud of this. You know, even though the band fell apart, and you know, that album we were working on, those tapes are lost. You know, this is representative of us at our best. And anyway, this is still in print. These other things, good luck finding them. So, the band broke up, and my wife and I moved to Nashville. Not to pursue a career in music. In fact, quite the opposite. I wanted to get away from bands and careers and all that sort of stuff. Worked in the music library at Vanderbilt for quite a while, and got back into classical music, got back into piano, set up my studio downstairs. And Sam, the drummer from UIA, his wife has family here in Nashville, comes here once or twice a year. We get to make music in my studio. And last year we were invited to play at this art gallery. My nephew's a recording engineer, so I had to record it, put it out on CD. Nice triple gatefold designed by my friend Griffin Norman. Some booklet, liner notes, taken from my blog. Put the link to my blog down below. No vinyl of this. I'm thinking about it. It won't really fit comfortably on vinyl. It's 3 tracks, about 34 minutes. Thought about a 3-sided 45, a gatefold. That'd be cool, but expensive. Not sure. I'm going to do that. Not sure this means I'm getting back into music as a career either. It was an opportunity. I'm really proud of it. I'm quite happy with the way that sounds. But mostly, I'm just I'm a happy amateur of music. You know, amateurs from the French. I'm a lover. I love music. And this this vinyl renaissance that's going on is really fascinating to me. If you'd asked me back in 1990, you know, if people would be buying vinyl LPs in 2013, I would have said no. And I think it's probably a fad. You know, they've gotten really expensive now. The whole record store day seems to become a little bit out of control. You know, I hope not, but I think it's probably a fad that's gonna pass. I think there'll still be records and record collectors. But in the meantime, it's a great time to be into vinyl right now. I mean, you know, still a lot of things don't come out on vinyl, but more and more things are coming out on vinyl. You know, I'm still into a lot of the jazz stuff, which tends to only come out on CD. But you know, I think this younger generation that's coming up, you know, appreciates vinyl. Mary Halverson is I'm a big fan of hers. A really inventive guitar player. And she recently put this out on a limited edition vinyl with new liner notes, where she talks about how much she loves vinyl. And her new record's coming out next month is also going to be on vinyl, 245 RPM vinyl. Cool. And it just seems like you can't be anybody. You can't have a band and not put your stuff out on vinyl, which is cool. So I just got this in the mail today. White Hills. So You Are, So You Will Be. This is their new record. It doesn't even come out until the 20th. But I pre-ordered it from Thrill Jockey. Nice gatefold, green vinyl. I don't usually do that. I like to support my favorite record store here in town, Grimey's, great record store. But I did because it also came with this limited EP if you pre-ordered it. 30 minutes of more mind-melting, hard space rock psychedelia. I never would have thought in 2013 that this would be even possible. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful thing what's going on here with the vinyl community. It's been a couple decades of the download, pirated, free music is free, devalued culture, and it seems like this whole vinyl renaissance has to do with people wanting something they can hold on to, something that that has some intrinsic worth. A digital file has no intrinsic worth. I'm sorry. It pains me to pay for downloads. I'll do it sometimes if it's the only way to get something. But okay. Wondering what we're listening to? Dawn of MIDI. This just came out. Sounds like electronic music, but it's not. Piano, bass, and drums, recorded live in the studio, no overdubs. Incredible musicianship on this. I wrote about it on my blog. No vinyl yet, but supposedly vinyl's coming out, and I will be sure to pick it up because this is one of my favorite records of the year so far. All right, 22 minutes. That's long. I'll try to keep them shorter than that. Thank you. Bless you. Next time.